Hi, I'm Sharon Gilmour-Glover. Thanks for joining me at Clarity for the Boss. We're talking about how business has become so complex. Really, the great metaphor for it is ecosystems. Ecosystems are highly interconnected, they're interrelated. When something happens in one part of the ecosystem, it has an impact on every other part of the ecosystem. That goes against traditional thinking. And when I say traditional, I mean decades and decades of thinking that way. Frederick Taylor brought in scientific thinking to business, which revolutionized the Industrial Revolution over 100 years ago. So, you know, we've had a very, very long history of this successful thinking, of breaking pieces of everything really down into its parts. Now, all of a sudden, we need to think in terms of the parts, but think about those parts in terms of the whole. One of the things that we hear a lot of, and we say, is, you know, this is not a Band-Aid solution. That has negative connotations because it obviously implies that a Band-Aid solution is just fixing an issue right here, but it's not going to the core. That kind of thinking, you know, I have a problem over here, let me get a solution over here, that really delivered great results for a long period of time. No wonder we think that way. It isn't working anymore though, and we certainly have seen way too many times. I was trying to come up with a great example and I couldn't. There are too many examples of businesses of all sizes that we've worked with investing in something, whether it's space, a very expensive piece of equipment, a software, a technology, hiring people. That's really actually where you see it most is, I need a body. We need a body in this role. We need them right now. One of the things that we do best, actually there's a blog post about it, best entrepreneurs are decisive. We make decisions and we move quickly. We don't procrastinate, and that's really great. The problem can be, though, now that we're working in these complex systems, that what looks like a solution 3 days or 3 weeks or 6 months from now is actually just an additional problem. If you aren't stopping to slow down, to make sure that you have a solid base of core values and purpose that you can always come back to, you have a strategic long-term 3 or 5 year plan that you're moving towards. If you don't have that context set, and if you're not clear that you're working in a world where I make one decision over here, it impacts something over here, and I cannot necessarily predict the impact. We don't live in a world where we know all of the ramifications anymore. Cause and effect can only ever been known in complex environments through hindsight, and even then, sometimes you can't trace it. And even if you can, it doesn't mean that root of cause and effect is going to hold true. All of this to say, we still are going to find ourselves in a position where all of a sudden we have to make a decision about some resource that we need to acquire, and probably there's going to be some urgency attached. Take the time, even if you only have 15 minutes or half an hour, to just step back and look at your bigger picture, and then decide to the best of your ability within your bigger picture, why do we need this big picture? Why do we need this resource? How is it going to fit into my ecosystem? What are the implications of bringing this new element in? Even if you can only pause for 15 minutes to do that, you're much more likely to not end up investing in some huge amount of space 6 months later into a 5-year lease, realizing already you don't have enough space. That happened to a client of ours. It was really expensive space. Take the time to step back, think about the whole, and try and make your decisions that way. Talk to you next time.